It looks like we are live. I'm going to be quiet, so you might have to turn up the volume. Little Snugglet had trouble falling asleep. So we're running a little behind and we're going to be a little bit quiet today. I am going to let everyone know that we are live. So I'm going to go here, copy that. My last show, unfortunately, did not post here. There we go. So I told everybody that we are live. Now, I didn't tell anybody besides Emily that I was doing this, and only told Emily I was going to be doing it the other day. So we'll just see who shows up, if anybody shows up. And let me see if I can get this to refresh and make sure that I'm live on Facebook. I'm live on YouTube, it seems. There we go. Looks like we're good. Okay. Hey, how's it going? My name is Jacob Robertson. I am the host of the Starship Cafe, formerly the Corona Cafe, but nobody cares about that. So there you go. I'm a Pacific Northwest real estate agent. And I got a Substack. You should follow it. My Substack's awesome. My Substack is awesome. I will say that, like, as good as my show is and my commentary, I think my Substack's better. So read my written articles. You can find them at Jacob Robertson on Substack, or This Is Going to Hurt You More Than Me. And the reason that it's going to hurt you more than me is I love talking about terrible stuff. Like, for whatever reason, my brain is geared towards, like, what is the worst thing going on? And I'm like, it's so bad. And then I go to sleep all happy, and then I wake up, and, you know, I'm, like, grinding my teeth. Actually, I can't see. You can see it. I was grinding my teeth so badly that I chipped my 2 front teeth in my sleep. And the dentist filed them down. He did a pretty good job, huh? Anyways, so now I'm sleeping with my mouth guard again, so that's good. What are we going to talk about today? I hope some people show up so we can talk about some stuff. That'd be awesome. Now, with that said, I'd like to, my condolences to Auntie Linda and Cousin Bree. Linda's husband, Bree's stepdad, died this week in his sleep. So that's good, but it's also in his sleep at home, which is hard. It's really hard. It's hard, so my condolences, guys. If you see this, and so if you do talk to them or see them on the internet space, say hi, send your love. What do I have to talk about today? We can talk about balloons. We could talk about Hamilton 68. I've decided that I am going to try and figure out what I'm going to talk about from Twitter as I wait for, people to pop in. And if nobody pops in, then I'll talk about whatever I talk about. So we go over here to display capture. Then we open up a window, and then we open up the one that has Twitter. There you go, and you should be able to see that fine, and I'll resize that. That shouldn't be happening like that. Let me see. We're going to resize the window a little bit more. There we go. There we go. Looks like we're good. So let's see. Maybe we can talk about something that's on Twitter. Tim Pool, impeach Biden now. If they have like less than 10,000 tweets, it's not that exciting. Oh, Ivanka Trump. Why is she tweeting at 14,000 tweets? We're at time. We're at time. We're at a time. Why is anybody like... Forbes estimates China paid Trump at least $4.5 million since he took office via mysterious Trump Tower lease. Isn't that what, like, Hunter Biden made every week? Like, actually, maybe we should talk about that. Maybe we should talk about this. So, Dad's probably on top of this. Hey, Dad, how you doing? But for the ladies at home, we'll go ahead and talk about this stuff because it's pretty incredible. And I can't give you the receipts on this. You can look into it if you want to. So we've been screwing around in Ukraine for a long time, and allegedly part of the reason we've been screwing around in Ukraine is it turns out that we do have tons of weapons labs over there. Biological research just for defense labs over there. See, so if the other guys are doing it, it's a weapons lab, but if you guys are doing it, it's like, medical safety research. We had a ton of these things in Ukraine. Which is part of like all the freaking out about Ukraine. And I'll just skip to the end. It's probably about money laundering. Number one. Number two, it was about being able to conduct research in a country that is not the United States. It's really corrupt. You can get away with quite a bit in Ukraine. It's right next to Russia. There's another advantage of it. And I think those three things pretty much cover it. And all this stuff started in 2012. We also overthrew their government. And was it 2012 or 2014 that we overthrew the Ukrainian government? Like, this was Victoria Nuland and a bunch of people from the State Department. If you don't know, the State Department is filled with people who were living under the thumb of communism, and they want to get even with Russia. And so, like, so much of this stuff is about just getting even with Russia. But what it looks like is there's one Ukrainian oligarch that has been funding all of this. Like, the Ukrainian oligarch not only put up a bunch of the money for the labs, he was working directly with Hunter Biden and the Burisma stuff. So he was funding one of the companies that Hunter Biden was on the board of, and he also put Zelensky in office. So what's happening in Ukraine? It looks like it's a billionaire game. This looks like it's one billionaire is responsible for so much of this. It's more complicated than that, but like something, and I've written articles about this. It's like choose your oligarch, Western warrior, or however I phrased it. We're all just subject to billionaire games, and we're existing in their world. Like, an example would be, there's a lot of fighting that's going on in the conservative movement that I might be fighting about, but an example would be like Jack Posobiec is loosely tied to it. Steve Bannon is definitely tied to it. Like War Room, Getter, a whole bunch of the Bannon infrastructure was paid for by a Chinese billionaire, Miles Hua. Now, what do I think Miles Hua is up to? I think he wants to topple Xi. I think he wants to topple Xi and have a new power structure take over China. And I think Bannon would be in favor of that. The Chinese Communist Party is ugly. It's brutal. Nobody likes it. I don't imagine, like, nobody in China likes it except for the communists. Like, nobody else likes it. So I can see wanting to topple the system. And then him and his friends will take control. We've talked about Jiang, I think is his name, the president, who's also like, the King Don of freaking Shanghai, who's probably also a billionaire, doing his things. And so we're all kind of subject to that. And so basically what you can do is, if you want to be really successful, pick an oligarch and then have them boost your thing. It's Bree. Hey, cousin Bree. I can't yell. Nugget just went down. She was having trouble sleeping. Like, she pooped. And that messes things up. Oh my god, there we go. We're back. So what do you want to talk about, Bree? I just talked about some Ukraine stuff. Because Ivanka was trending, and then I'm like, why is Ivanka trending? But let's go back. So this is a shoot from the hip show, Bree. So whatever you want to talk about. Let's talk about Pfizergate. And so if you don't know what Pfizergate is, let's see if there's any sort of stuff that actually... Okay, so here's this guy. So 4 million views, and that was January 25th. So this is a week plus later. There's way, way, way more views. This thing has like, I want to say 30 million views at this point. And so it's this guy, and he's allegedly some director over at Pfizer, and he got trashed on a date and wound up saying like, yeah, we're totally making viruses, and yeah, we're totally doing blah 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 blah. And he just admits to like Pfizer committing a whole bunch of crimes, and then he got drunk again, and it was just like, the video of him drunk was pretty rowdy, where he attacked this guy, James O'Keefe, who is the head of Project Veritas, and it looks bad. And then this guy, James O'Keefe, winds up losing his Twitter account, his Facebook account, his Instagram account, and his YouTube account. And all he did was recorded a video of this guy who says that Pfizer is doing gain-of-function research, in a nutshell. Bree has not been paying attention to anything this week. Bree, we told, again, my condolences. I told everybody at the top of the stream about Ron. My condolences again. It's hard. I won't get into it. It's hard. And I love you, and I hope you and Auntie Lindy are doing well. So let's get you caught up on the world. Maybe you can hear, like, you'll get all this news first from me, and then when you watch CNN, you'll be like, it's lies, it's a bunch of lies. Anyways, and then like Pfizer or Project Veritas and Malone, Dr. Malone, he's the alleged inventor of the mRNA. He was part of the team of people who invented the mRNA vaccines, and his whole thing now is just like blasting mRNA technology. And they had a space about it. It was allegedly very good. I didn't keep track of it because, like, I'm no longer, like, I don't need to pay attention to the Pfizer story at all because so many people are on it. Like, whatever Pfizer did, that's going to come out. It's totally going to come out. Like, it's going to come out. And so we'll find that out, and that's great. I'm a big fan of what aren't we looking at? What is the dog that isn't barking? So, we had this Chinese spy balloon flying over the United States, and, it's, oh, okay, we got this, but, oh, yeah, we still got billions of dollars going over to Ukraine. That's good. Okay, so the Chinese are flying some balloons. But what else are the Chinese up to? Like, what did the Chinese do this week? Anytime China does something like this, I automatically assume that it is a intelligence operation or a psychological operation. We're going to talk more about the balloon and what the balloon could be or could have been. The balloon just got shot down off the ocean in South Carolina, off the shores of South Carolina. But here's something that I've noticed, which is there's a bunch of stories that are now circulating on Twitter. Bree just dropped some sad news into the chat. Dr. Phil is calling it quits after the season. And she paid attention to that. And that's sad. Dr. Phil's awesome. Actually, I really dig Dr. Phil. I still need to listen to him on Joe Rogan. There's a couple of Joe Rogans I need to listen to, but I don't listen to Joe Rogan that much because I don't have time for it. And I'm just kind of sick of it. And this will go back into oligarch games. So we're talking about, actually, we're going to finish this up. So there's a whole bunch of race stuff that's now hitting all at the same time. So I'm going to go back here to little Twitter, and I'm going to go to my little search. And so we have, like, school bus attack. And I'm not going to show a bunch of this stuff, but, like, this kid's 14, and he's beating up a 9-year-old girl. Like, this 14-year-old boy is beating the crap out of a 19-year-old girl, and also I think it was like her 12-year-old brother or 11-year-old brother or something like that. And he just beat the crap out of her. He just wailed on her, which is unacceptable. But the kid's black, and the kid's, like, the assault victim's white, and there's just so many of these stories that are now popping up. And then you have, like, police kill. We'll just see what it is. Fill this out, and I don't know where he is. Okay, yeah. So this was Tyree Nichols, and what they did, I gotta, like, the little girl got beat up on the bus. She, I think it was USA Today, put the image that they put up, and they pulled it down, was a stock image of two white kids fighting. And so, of course, conservative media is jumping on this. But so we have, like, Tyree Nichols, and they're like, oh, he's trying, it's like, we have to get all these people out in the street because he was killed by the cops, which, okay, cool. Like, you don't need to watch the video. I watched it for you, or I watched enough of it, and these cops murdered this guy. Now, did they murder him because, like, this guy slept with one of their wives or something like that? It looked personal. Now, my personal belief, like, I'll just say what I think happened, is this guy smarted off to the cops, and the cops beat him to death. That's what I think happened, is he copped an attitude with the wrong cops at the wrong time, and they beat him to death. And I mean, it's like, they handcuffed the guy, we're holding him up, and we're just like, okay, here we go. Oh, go bam! And just take measured shots at him. Like, I would say it was a lynching. Because it was almost a lynching. It was freaking horrible. Anyway, so we got Bree saying, like, him on Joe Rogan was epic. Dr. Phil and Robic, yeah, like, I bet, like, that's a really good conversation, and his podcast is lit too. Whenever I have time for podcasts, I'll listen to them. I still listen to I'll tell you what I've been listening. I can talk about that. I've been listening to the quarterly earnings calls. So I listened to one from Lockheed Martin the other day. I can talk about that. I still listen to Scott Adams because he's good for getting, like, a general, what are people talking about? And then that's about it. because all the fun stuff isn't fun anymore. Like, it's no fun to listen to Sargon anymore. It was really fun to talk, like, listen to Sargon or, any of the Trump stuff back in, like, 2017, 18, 19. That's when conservative media peaked. Because it was just a bunch of trolls. Like, it was just so much trolling, and it was really fun. And now it's just, like, everybody fighting with each other over stuff. So back to why I don't listen to Joe Rogan that much anymore. Like, so something I've learned, and maybe I could draw it someday, but I did the article about oligarchs, but it seems to be that there's, like, pods of oligarchs, and those pods have, like, their connections. And so, God, what was it? Who was it? Brian Callum, who's a comedian. Brian Callum. I think that's how you say that. Spell his name and see if that fits. But his dad was connected to intelligence. Like, his dad was connected to the Pentagon, and I don't remember exactly what it was. And then you have Joe Rogan's dad, who was allegedly connected to some Jersey Mafia types. And so you have this group of comedians who wound up becoming rather popular and powerful, and you also have, like, Joe Rogan connected to the LA fight, or like the Los Angeles, Vegas fighting scene and gambling scene, UFC kind of stuff, and it's probably a playground for organized crime. And so you look at, like, who Joe Rogan covers, who he doesn't cover, and then you're like, okay, there's something clearly going on right here. Like, as an example, the Project Veritas guy, James O'Keefe, he's never been on Rogan. Like, the number one investigative journalist who's still active, I mean, you could call Assange the number one investigative journalist, but, that guy's running for his life. Assange is probably getting off, by the way. So that's cool. The New York Times came out with a piece saying that, New York, or like, he should be let off because, oh, lo and behold, all this stuff that we've been screaming about for the government to do ever since, like, Trump was president, it turns out that was really bad. It was really dangerous. Maybe we shouldn't, like, imprison journalists for doing their jobs. Maybe it sets a bad precedent. I don't know. So Assange is going to get off, and that's really good, because WikiLeaks is probably the most important organization out there. Because if there's anybody who's going to wind up releasing what DC has been up to, and, like, our political whatever class, it's going to be WikiLeaks. It's the only way to find out. You just get these big document dumps, and they, like, dump everything, and then people can go through the dump and be like, oh my God, look at this. We're going to talk more about dumps. So let's talk about Hamilton 68. Unless Bree has a question or wants to comment. Oh, that's where I was going, the bots. Anyways, somebody's trying to start race riots this summer. Like, it's all over Twitter. Like, Twitter is looking right now very similar to the way Twitter looked in April. I think, was it April? When was George Floyd killed? Yeah, April. I'm going to say April, May of 2020. It looks very similar. And George Floyd, I want to say he was killed, was it May 29th? Something like that. And then you had the riots, that started at the end of the month, and then all throughout June, and all throughout, like, up until the election, and then poof, they're all gone. For some strange reason, all the people who were rioting stopped as soon as a Democrat got elected. That's good. Kind of strange, kind of weird. A little weird how all that happens. Anyways, it's the same kind of stuff. And then you have the Chinese balloon. So my belief is that China's getting ready to do something. I think that's what that means, or what all this means, because China's just masterful at diversionary tactics. Now let's talk about the stupid balloon. We're going to talk about the stupid balloon. So there's a stupid balloon that it turns out we've been tracking since before it hit. Like, I think we've been tracking. Bree says, Lindy and I are going to try and get some lunch. Check in later. Yeah, please do. I love you. My love to Auntie Lindy. I imagine I will be seeing you guys soon. Let me know the details. We'll be there. Have a great lunch. So, the stupid balloon. So, it turns out our government has been tracking this balloon since it left China. And we knew about it going by Hawaii. And then all of a sudden it appeared in Montana over our missile silos. And the only reason that it was released is because some, I want to say it was a journalist. It might have just been somebody. Anyway, somebody took a picture of the balloon and we're like, oh, what's this giant balloon doing there? And then the government had a comment on it. And then it's, of course, like, why didn't we shoot down the balloon? We should have shot down the balloon. We need to shoot down the balloon because the balloon. which is the obvious play. Like the obvious thing would be, oh, let's shoot down the balloon because there's a balloon here. And then allegedly Biden said, shoot down the balloon. And then the Pentagon and told him out, like, we're not going to shoot down the balloon. We have things to do with the balloon. Okay. So we just let this balloon fly over our missile silos and, just slowly flow over the United States of America in a balloon. It's not like it's a jet. This thing takes days to go over the United States. Anyway, so we just let it go, and then it flies over the ocean of South Carolina, and they shoot it down. I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Maybe they were trying to knock it down in such a way where they can recover it, so that's why they waited until the thing was over water. That's one. Number two, we might have been experimenting with some jamming equipment, some really advanced stuff. And so you might be saying, how can you jam a balloon that's 60,000 feet in the air? We're the United States. We invented the everything. See this? You see this? See this? That's America, baby. You see this watch? You see this watch right here? That's America, baby. You see this? You see this Starcups cup? That's America, baby. Now, was this actually manufactured in the United States? It's a service company. Oh, China. Son of a bitch. We didn't make this. But it's got our label on it, so that's good. So the United States makes everything. So it's entirely possible that we had stuff going on there. Maybe we didn't want them to know our capabilities of shooting this stuff down. These balloons were also flying. Apparently they've been flying for a while, for years, but there's one that went over Japan, one that flew over India. There's, one currently over South America. Like the Chinese are clearly doing some sort of intelligence gathering. So you might say, why would they do that? For some of the more like the people who just don't know, you can get better pictures the closer you are to the ground. And so if you have a balloon that's 60,000 feet in the air and it's taking pictures of the ground, that balloon's going to take way, way, way better pictures than something that's 15 miles above the Earth's atmosphere, because it has to look through the atmosphere in order to get the picture. It's farther away, and so you have to blow it up, and you need a bigger lens or whatever. So if you have like this giant lens looking down, sucking everything up, they can get really detailed maps. And it's not the kind of stuff that gets censored by Google Maps. So maybe that was it. Maybe that was the play. Who knows? And we'll never know. That's probably one of the big things about this story is we'll never know, and by next week nobody will care, because we'll be on to the next thing. We'll be on to the next thing that happens. Speaking about the next thing that happens, freaking the Pfizer stuff's just incredible. It's just incredible. And YouTube colluding with it, their Google colluding with Pfizer and all this stuff. It's just whatever. I'm not going to dig into it. That's not my shtick right now. My shtick is going to continue to be space, so I can talk about the balloon and some expertise. Mental health, I can talk about that. And then algorithms. So Pfizer doesn't fit into that. And you have people who've made their whole career out of exposing like the COVID vaccine stuff, so that's their job. Let's go back to Twitter trending. And so we'll go back here, blah, 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 police killing people, school bus attack. You don't need to watch the school bus attack, by the way. I don't recommend that at all. Actually, I am going to back off real quick. I'm going to go back real quickly. I can't, don't watch the videos of kids getting the crap kicked out of them, okay? Don't watch the videos of, cops killing people. Don't watch the videos of fights, breaking out and, just the really trashy stuff. If you're going to watch trashy stuff, watch Say Yes to the Dress. It's not Say Yes to the Dress, but really I mean Say Yes to the Rose. Watch some tacky dating show and then make bets on it and have that be your trash television. That's way better than just scrolling your feed and then you see some violence and you're like, oh, look, it's violence. And then it just eats your soul. I do have a text from Emily, which I'm going to open up because it might be a chunk of what I'm going to talk about. No, it's not. Talk to you later, Emily. Let me see. Emily and I were talking about the trans stuff, and there was some trans stuff that happened this week. There was a story. I don't care about it. I can tell you a personal experience I had this week. I'll tell you a little anecdote. So I was talking with and I want to keep it somewhat ambiguous. I was talking with an educator of young children. I'm talking really young children, like a kindergarten teacher. And we were talking about my daughter, and my wife wanted to make sure she didn't like encourage her to be into pink or anything like that. There was some belief that she had that there was some sort of nurture element behind girls loving pink and whatever. And then I had a daughter, and she's like, unicorns and dresses and pink and flowers and being a girly, and I like having all this girly stuff in my hair, and look at how pretty I am, and I love princesses. We didn't encourage that. I was thrilled about it. In fact, I've been objective. I'm like, do you want Spider-Man or princess diapers? And she's like, princess diapers. I'm like, and I deliberately make sure that I don't sell it to her in one way or another, because I'm in sales. Like, I know how to sell stuff, especially to kids. Kids are easy. Man, kids are the easiest. Jesus, I wish all my clients were kids. And so I'm like, okay, this, and she's like, oh, I choose to be a princess. And so I'm like, yep, there's my little princess daughter. And then I was telling her like that little anecdote I shared with you about my wife and I. And she's like, yeah, we have this one parent who doesn't want, like, she asked if we use gendered language with the children. And she's like, well, we don't deliberately do it. We usually just call them by their names. I'm like, oh, good, because we're raising our child in a genderless house. And, you know, we've never done that before. And I was like, you know, it's inappropriate for me to just, like, you're an educator, and this is just not appropriate for me to share my opinion. So she's like, oh, please. And I was like, this is effing retarded. All this stuff is effing retarded. Kids don't know what pronouns are. Kids don't have a clue. My kid runs around saying, I'm a lion. Roar. Roar. And I'm like, oh, are you a lion? Roar. Yeah. And these freaking idiot parents will be like they'll be like, oh, you're a lion? Oh, okay. My child identifies as a lion right now. So if you can go ahead and get some soy steaks, because we're still vegan and we don't believe in that, but we're going to go ahead and be like lion abled, and we want to make sure that they have a den in their classroom and like a litter box to go pee in, because they said they were a lion when they're 2. Like, this stuff's so dumb. It's just so dumb. And I think that it's permeated education enough, like this stuff is spread enough to where people are like, this is stupid. This is so stupid. And so we'll see it scale back. And it'll go back and forth, but the lawsuits are going to solve this. Like, there's going to be so many lawsuits over what's happened to these kids. And I blame their parents. I do. I blame their parents. Like, if these kids weren't on social media, if they weren't running around on YouTube all the time, and if they didn't like be idiot parents and study a little bit of childhood psychology, like, we would not be having these problems right now. But I digress. So that's that. Let me see what else is going over here. So we have like, yeah, it got shot down, Dark Brandon, which is just the dumbest thing in the world. Jesus, it's dumb. If you don't know what Dark Brandon is, here, I'll just Google it, or just Dark Brandon. We'll go images here. Oh yeah, no, it's like, that's really Dark Brandon. And so they're like, oh, Mr. Joe Biden's not playing nice guy anymore, and he's Dark Brandon now because somebody said let's go Brandon when it was F Joe Biden. And so they're trying to take an ownership of F Joe Biden and look at how badass Joe Biden is, I guess. Which is so stupid. It's just so unbelievably stupid. Like, this is so stupid. Like, Emily, there's girls running our information systems that are younger than you with graduate degrees, and they came from rich kid homes. Like, that's why the narrative's all messed up. That's why Disney, everything sucks. That's why Netflix, everything sucks, is because we have like 26-year-old girls writing everything, and all of them have like degrees in gender studies. That reminds me of something we can talk about. Let's do that's not showing. Okay, I'll just go back to the conversation I was having with Emily earlier this week. So Emily works for an IT firm, and she's just like, so many people got laid off. Like, they laid off all of middle management, and so now my manager is like taking care of 200 people or something like that. And she's like, what the hell is going on? And I was like, well, we're going into a recession, and corporations love laying off headline risk and W-2 labor. What does that mean? They get rid of employees who cause problems and are likely to cause problems and end up in headlines. Headline risk. You don't want like your employees going out and doing something that gets your company on the news, because then you're like, well, it's not my fault this employee worked at Gap. I'm very sorry, and we're blah, 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 blah. But what happens is, like, when one of these employees does something stupid, Gap loses, $10 million in business. So they try getting rid of that. So Silicon Valley, and I'm just making this up, but approximately 10% of Silicon Valley employees have been laid off recently. And a lot of those jobs are getting outsourced to India or other places. So they love to just shed the fat. It's like an excuse to fire all the bad employees, an excuse to fire the employees that are a pain in the ass. But these guys are just gutting diversity and inclusion. Like, that's the department that's getting hit, which is funny. But it's going to wind up being a problem when all these D&I people just end up going into government. That's where they're going to get jobs. But diversity and inclusion is on its way out because it's an obvious grift. But like, these people are already educated. They spend all this money to get these degrees. So we'll just say $150,000 in college, like student loan debt, and they were working at Google and they got laid off. They're going to be looking for blood. They're going to be looking, and they're going to cause problems. I'll just say it that way. Like, you saw what feminism brought us. D&I is going to bring this. And so it's better and worse than you think it is. Okay? It's not going to go the way that you think it is. It's not going to be like this huge D&I takeover of everything in every corporation. Everybody is like, I pronounce blah, 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 blah. These people are going to go into other areas and just cause problems and be miserable shitheads in the government. That's my prediction. But it's good to see them all getting fired. Let me see. I'm gonna check Twitter again. There's some drama. There's some Twitter drama that I'm not sure anybody cares about, which is funny. It's really funny. Like, you have like the Steven Crowder drama, and then you have the here. Let's click on that. Get that bigger. Let you see what I'm doing here. Not shot down. I'm not trying to do that one. I'm just trying to get like, let's get all of what's happening. Show more. There we go. Go show more. I lost that thought bubble. Doesn't matter. Dark Brandon's stupid. PP, I don't know what that is. President Xi. So it's probably about the balloon. And what the conservative media is saying is that effectively the narrative is China already got what it wants, so the United States can like shoot it down, and Biden will no longer be blackmailed by the Chinese. And a lot of this also happened right before Secretary Blinken, I believe he's their department, head of the state, Secretary of State. I think that's what Blinken does. I don't even care to look it up. The guy's a tool. He's heading over to China next week. And so there's this big Chinese balloon, and there's their Secretary of State going over there. Secretary of State's a big deal for the United States, but whatever. So we got Bill Kristol trending. He's a tool. Bill Maher's trending. Bill Maher's going to be doing like a co-show on... I don't even remember what it was. Actually, there was a pretty good Bill Maher segment. Maybe I'll pop that up real quickly. I'll check my bookmarks. Go to all bookmarks. Put on my glasses really quickly. Ba-ba-da-bum, ba-ba-da-bum, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. There's ba-ba-da-ba, there's ba-ba-da-ba, there's ba-ba-da-ba, there's a pretty good Peter Thiel thing. Let me show you this real quickly if I can go back here. Doesn't matter. Peter Thiel, this one went viral, so we see it around. Peter Thiel coming in hot with a new and family-based pill address, condemns AI safetyism, D-cells, going as far as calling it existential risk to civilizational progress. Basically, his argument is that we're turning into a totalitarian society. And everybody's scared of technology, and there's so much BS in the sciences and technology that you just shouldn't trust scientists. You shouldn't trust what's coming out of the universities, specifically around science, because it's sort of a not an ivory tower. There's a specific term I'm looking for, but basically it's a walled garden. And you can't see what's happening behind the walls, and everybody does a bunch of butt kissing to make sure everybody gets funding. But there's just a lot of like scientific papers that are coming out that are just total BS. And that there's a technological safetyism. So in order to deal with climate change, the argument from the left and the globalists and the neoliberals is basically that we need to stop using so much electricity. We need to scale everything back. And then Peter Thiel's argument is that we need to unleash science to fix climate change. And engineering, and we need to let that happen because we're building something that's really dangerous. It was pretty based. Peter Thiel's a smart guy. He's also one of the people who founded PayPal. He was one of the original investors in Facebook. Oh, I got to show you this. I'm going to do an article on this. I haven't done it yet because of the Hamilton 68 stuff. I eventually will. Take a look at these ladies. Okay, let me scroll that. Can you see that okay? I'm going to scroll it up so you can see a little bit better. Okay, there we go. So let's take a look at the ladies. A couple of blondies. Whoa, hey now, Miss Burnett. Okay. Hey now. So can I tell you something about these ladies? They're not real. These aren't people. These aren't CGI drawings. This is AI artwork. See how the hands are getting a lot better? See how the hands are getting way, way, way better? And the eyes are getting way, way, way better. And the nose is getting better. And the mouths are getting better. The hair. Look at the hair. That looks like real hair. We can see her ribs. They even gave her a butt chin. There's like, it decided to do a little cleft chin right there. Here's one of the giveaways for AI artwork, by the way. Their teeth are awesome. Like, if you take a look at all their teeth, they're going to be perfectly straight every single time. AI only does straight teeth, so that's one of the giveaways is the mouth stuff. But these women aren't there. And you can even see like the bands, like you can see the waistband digging into her hips. You can see it digging into her hips right there too. Like, and that's one of the giveaways. Like another one is like, straps don't hang down like that. Oh, and look at her hands again. Those look like real hands. Almost. You can see like where that like one's disconnected. But my point is if you take a look at like, here, let me see if I can find a search. Humans 2021. So view file, make that bigger. Now, she looks a little bit weird with her cybernetic arm or whatever. Take a look at her face. This was a year ago. Hey, what up? This is Live, Brian. How you doing, man? What's up? We'll talk about whatever you want to. It's Shoot from the Hip Saturday. Right now I'm talking about AI artwork. So there's that person. We'll just close that window right there. So take a look at this. Take a look at her face. Which one should we go for? Which one gets me in less trouble? I think this gets me in the least trouble. Look at their faces now. Okay, you see that, Brian? You see that? You're looking at these faces? You're looking at these blonde ladies right there? That's a year. That's what happens in 1 year. And they are training the crap out of these things. And man, do I want to make a freaking article on this so bad, but I'm already writing my next Wednesday article, which is Hamilton 68. I got to talk about Hamilton 68. I got to talk about ChatGPT. I got to talk about the programming that they're creating in order to enslave all of us with their stupidity. And I just want to talk about titties. I want to talk about AI titties, but I can't talk about the AI titties because I got to talk about the titties the giant boobs that run everything, the freaking idiots that are in charge of this empire. We'll go back here real quickly. I'm going to make a prediction for you guys, and I will spell it out in my article. There's some weird stuff happening with incels. Okay, incels are involuntary celibates, and these are guys who can't get anything. So what's happening? They're getting addicted to OnlyFans. OnlyFans is like, one of these girls, like a real girl, but one of these girls could, basically you can text with them. So you text with them and you're like, hey, how you doing? Here's $20. Will you give me a picture of your titty? And then they send like a titty pic or whatever. And basically, let's just say one girl has like 20 OnlyFans or whatever, and they pay $100 a month. She's making $2,000 a month. Okay, whatever. And then she's sort of carrying on a relationship with these guys. Okay, like we're texting back and forth, and hey, and so these guys get to like simulate a relationship with somebody. Okay, that's what this is about. Like they're simulating something. They're filling the void of having a partner there. What OnlyFans is going to do is it's going to take all of the naked ass women. I talked about this last time. Dad, you didn't see that episode. That episode was great, but it's only on Facebook. But anyways, what they're doing is they're training it. And to go over again, this is how AI gets trained. So OpenAI is the best example. but it can also be OnlyFans or any of them. What they do is they take all of this data, so all these images from the internet, and we'll just say blonde women, and so it just pulls like, you know, a trillion pictures of blonde women, and then it loads it into the AI, and it says this is what a blonde woman looks like, and it's like this is what a black woman looks like, this is what a Hispanic woman looks like, this is what blah 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 looks like, and so you just train the AI to get better at recognizing the stuff over and over again, okay, and then you train it costs millions of dollars. Well, they're big enough to where it's like, okay, well, we've got the models well enough that we're just going to go ahead and launch our products, and then we'll send them over to Kenya. What they do is they have people in Kenya looking at images and circling them. So anytime there's a cigarette, anytime there's a bottle, anytime there's a titty, anytime there's a face, what they do is they just go through and circle it, circle it, circle it, circle it. We pay people in Kenya $2 an hour to do this. Okay? AI companies are getting free information. Our information, the 25 years of stuff that we've been putting out on the internet, they take all of that data for free, put it into servers, and then use models to train it, and then take those models, they send it over to the Africans, pay them $2 an hour to look through this stuff so they can better train their models to put everyone at OnlyFans out of business. So what's happening right now is there's somebody who's going through OnlyFans, all their stuff, and they're like, this is a titty, this is a titty, this is a hand, this is a face, this is the butt, this is the titties, this is the butt, this is the whatever, okay? And they're going to have like these girls who, you know, in 2 years, Brian, how fast do you think this is going to move, Brian? Really, how fast? Do you think it's going to be 2 years before you have a deep fake that looks real, that can... In 2 years, you'll have deep fakes that can talk to you in real time, and it's going to be 3 years. But in 2 years, you're going to have people you're going to have AI deep fake models that can talk to you, and it looks real. And so what OnlyFans is going to do is it's going to take all these really pretty girls, and then it's going to create fake girls that people can subscribe to for a discounted amount because you're not talking to a real person, or something like that. Maybe they'll just create fake women, do that, and then they're like profiles where they just get all the money. So they're going to be these AI models are going to be competing against real women, and they're going to do better because also the chat feature is going to allow them to chat with 1 million guys at the same time. And they're going to use the data from and this is, I'm making this up, but I'm 100% sure I'm 99% sure it's going to happen. They're going to take the chat logs from OnlyFans and use that as the language model for the chat bots for the OnlyFans AI generated women. We're training AI to manipulate men. And it's going to be exceptional at it. It's going to be very, 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 very good at manipulating men. And I think it's unstoppable. To give you an idea of how bad it is in the incel community, there are now incel men who are now transitioning to being women. They're doing sex changes. They're transitioning to women, and then they're dating incel men. Do you know that one, Brian? Did you know that? Brian, are you here? Talk to me. What do you want to talk about? Are you catering? What's going on? Anyways, that's that fun little story right there. I'm not getting honest feedback from my whatever. Is this thing live? Yeah, yeah, we got that. Facebook. Let's get done with OnlyFans though. Oh yeah, because I wanted to talk about all the titties, but I didn't because I'm talking about that stupid thing. Let me see if I can find. I lost it. It doesn't matter. It was Bill Maher saying something pretty good for Bill Maher. We're going live. There's Project Veritas stuff. I'm not showing you my bookmarks because I don't want you to look at my bookmarks and judge me. And the reason that I do it this way is because, I follow accounts that I'm not supposed to follow. I interact with things that I'm not supposed to, where it's like stuff that's been, kept from the public or whatever. And so anyways, like I follow this stuff and then it, it flags me or whatever. But it's in order to be intellectually honest, I need to listen and interact with people that I don't know. or even agree with. Nope, I didn't say that, Bill Maher. Whatever. It don't matter none. What else are we going to talk about here? Let's talk about Hamilton 68. So we go into our little search function. I got to bring that right back down. Okay, there's Jack Posobiec. This is my last one that I saved. The Biden administration knew about the balloon all along, but didn't want to make China mad before Blinken's audience with Xi this weekend. But Montana newspaper got footage of it, and they had to go public. Holy schlit. Yeah, something like that. There was also something that got shot down over Montana. We don't know what that is. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe the governor will tell us. The governor was on Tucker Carlson, which is probably friendly to the governor of Montana. Anyways, and this is the Thomas Sowell thing, where, Emily, you should just memorize these questions. Thomas Sowell is a great economist, very, 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 very smart guy. And this is his argument to defeat anybody on the left.
I've often said there are three questions that I think would destroy most of the arguments on the left. And the first is, compared to what? The second is, at what cost? And the third is, what hard evidence do you have? Now, there are very few ideas on the left that can pass all three of those kinds of things. I've often...
Emily, it's zero. Zero things can pass that test. Let's get rid of all the cops. At what cost? Okay. Hamilton 68. Only 33 tweets in the last hour. That's just unbelievable. David Sachs. David Sachs is a smart guy. What does David Sachs say? When Elon Musk made necessary business changes at Twitter, the media reacted with hysterical melodrama. He was starving employees. The site was facing imminent collapse, but when Twitter files exposed the state censorship and Hamilton 68 fraud, they react with deafening silence. Let me see. Elon has apologized briefly. Blah, blah, blah. Hamilton. Disingenuous response from Hamilton 68. This is... Let's see what Glenn... All right, let's just listen to some Glenn Greenwald. This is why you should listen to Glenn Greenwald, by the way. I haven't even listened to this clip, but I bet it's fire.
Look how often it infiltrated into and contaminated our news.
I'm really concerned about that audio. I'm not going to play it. Let's see if there's another one. Hey, here we go.
Whatever. Back in 2008, when the president of Georgia attacked...
That's an old one. It doesn't matter. We love Glenn Greenwald. I'll just explain it to you. I'll explain it to you using Jacob language. And you won't get little graphs, so I apologize. And Brian Clark, if you're still there. It doesn't show that anybody's there, but if anybody's there, holler at your boy. Holler at your boy. I can't see anything because this window sucks. Holler at your boy. Yeah, so Brian, anything, let me know. Hamilton 68. So Hamilton 68 was a dashboard. And a way to think about a dashboard is when you log into a website, let's just say you're logging into a news site, that's like your dashboard for the site. So, you're breaking news, your articles, your blog, your world news, your US news, your local news, that's a dashboard. Okay, and so at Hamilton 68, it's a website. So what Hamilton 68 was, it was a website and a dashboard, and what it was doing is it was tracking Russian disinformation in real time. So let's just say that there was hashtag Hillary's documents that were going out in these accounts. So there was 640 accounts, something like that. If these accounts started talking about, Hillary's documents or Hillary's emails or whatever, what they would do is say, oh, look, it's the Russians and they're trying to boost this story right now. There's a couple of problems with that. Number one, these were just normie people. These were just normal conservatives. These were just normal. Amanda Milius was on this with one of her Anon accounts, okay? These were just anonymous accounts. Or not anonymous accounts, but these are just normal Republican accounts, okay? And then also some conservatives in the UK and Canada. And so what Hamilton 68 was doing was analyzing these accounts for what they're talking about. And so let's just say conservatives or Republicans were talking about, Hillary's documents. What would happen is they would see the hashtag trending and they'd say, oh, that's Russian disinformation. And so what they would do, this is made up, but I'm pretty sure this is it, is they would turn down the reach. What they would do is they'd throttle it. And a way of thinking about throttling something is, and I put this in my article, so this is a preview of the next article. Let's just say social media functions like we're all at a dinner party. We're all at a dinner party, and we all have boom boxes on our shoulders, and the volume on the we all have the volume set at the same, okay? And so we're all talking about whatever we're talking about, and it'll carry that. However, deep boosting stuff, and amplifying stuff, or throttling stuff, or shadow banning stuff, what it would do is it would take a trans account as an example. So Keffals is the one that I use, and they boost it, so they rank it higher. So Keffals gets on, and Keffals is a big trans activist. I think we talked about Keffals. They're going to make Keffals louder, while at the same time they're going to take normie conservatives. So we'll just say somebody like Amanda Milius, who worked at the State Department, by the way, and turn her way down. And so we're all at this dinner party. Keffals is louder, conservative from the State Department's turned down. That's the way you can think about deboosting this stuff. So if there's a hashtag that's being shared that's Russian disinformation, the FBI or the Department of Homeland Security would go to Twitter and say, hey, look at all this disinformation that's being spread by the Russians. We needed to turn it down. And then they're like, okay. Part of what Hamilton 68 and the Twitter files shows is that Twitter knew it was BS. They knew it was BS. They were actually pissed off at the FBI for doing it, and they were trying to figure out a way of getting around it, but they knew it was crap. But worse is that journalists and people inside the government were taking it as gospel. So they were like, oh my God, look at all of this disinformation stuff that's coming out. Let me see if I can find that one that I was looking for. I guess it's up here. Okay, never mind. It's not up there. Maybe I should put on my glasses. Oh, you're not seeing any of this. Give me just 1 second. These, and I'll go ahead and lift it up. These are all these different publications. So what do you got? You got Mother Jones, you got NPR, you got Salon, you got ABC News. But all these media organizations started writing stories on stuff that just wasn't true. And so hundreds, if not thousands of stories went out about Russian disinformation and Russian bots and Russian intelligence stuff. That was all crap. It's not true. None of this stuff was true. The narrative around the Russia bot story is just BS. It was just completely made up. It was completely made up. Completely made up. How many thousands of hours of news coverage did this stuff get for something that's just not even happening? Meanwhile, China's flying, spy balloons over our country and making, viruses that escape their labs. Whatever. We're going to talk about Russian disinformation. We got to go after that stuff. And so, but it gets worse. So let's backtrack. Hamilton 68 is a dashboard. There is 640 accounts. Most of them were not Russian. I think there were maybe 40 Russian accounts on there. Most of them are normal conservatives, and so normal conservatives talk about normal conservative things, and that winds up getting throttled. So their accounts are getting deboosted or shadow banned. Well, the topics that they're talking about are getting shadow banned and disputed. And so let's just say I come out and I interact with that data. And this is what... Here, let me just go here, and I can find her really quickly, because I'm sure she'll be at the top of it, because I interact with Christy all the time. Here, I think it's Kristen Ruby. So she did this really big article. This is a gigantic article. You can do Twitter, AI, and content moderation at rubymediagroup.com, where she breaks all this stuff down. And so she is trying so hard to get traction with this stuff. She's just like, hey, I've got the details. I've got the dirty details. And so what this is, and I'll just kind of see if there's an image of it in here to show you what the arrays are. So this is something in programming called an array. And I'm just going to read the top of it. I'm just doing this off the top of my head. Name, so that'll be the username. And if they're using any of the words like ballot, detections, array, ballot, dtype, object. And so it's basically is if anybody's talking about ballot detection, counting detection, government agency and detection, if they're using any of these words together in a phrase, then do X. And so it's like turn it into an object and do something like that. It's called object-oriented programming. It doesn't matter what it is. What it means is any account that is talking about these two things, we're going to turn down the volume on them. That makes sense? And this is how conservative, this is literally like she has in her, like she has the proof. Like she actually has the code. It's not like she has, Twitter employees talking about this. She literally has the code that they were using to censor people on social media, and nobody cares about it right now because there's a civil war going on inside the Conservative Party, Republican Party, whatever, between the Steve Bannon wing, the rhinos are almost no part of it. Like the rhinos are part of it, but it's like you're going to have Steve Bannon versus the Daily Wire, so Ben Shapiro versus Jeremy over at the Quartering, which is more like pop culture conservative stuff. And then you have Tim Pool, which is kind of like a daily news program, whatever his show is. And all these guys are having it out. And so while they're having it out, here comes Kristen, and she's like, hey, this is how you guys have been. You know how you thought all this stuff was happening? Here it is. And nobody cares. Nobody cares. Now, her personality is a little bit rough. Like, I might need to help out Chris. Like, I understand you got Ruby Media Group, Ruby, and that you're clearly in something like this. You need a communications guy. Call me. My name is Jacob. Call me. Actually, I'm going to email you really soon because I'm writing an article based off her stuff. Because what she's got is just killer. But let's go back to that. Let's go back to that real quickly. So the code of how this stuff is censored. Okay. That's it. I guess that's all I had. Hamilton 68. This is how they were doing it. So basically you have like a fake portal that was created by the government to track Russian information, which was really, they were tracking their political opponents. They're using tools that were created during the War on Terror, and now they're using these tools against conservatives and Republicans on the right, their political enemies, and they're doing it through inserting code into the social media companies that if people talk about certain topics, those accounts get flagged, and then those accounts get deboosted, and then they can't share ideas anymore. As an example, how accurate was I about COVID? Really, for you guys who are listening, how accurate was I about COVID? I'm talking like a month into COVID. I was saying, you guys need to lose fat. You guys need to fast. You need to get your inflation down, and you need to fast because what it's going to do is it's going to clean out your cells, and you're not going to wind up having the cytokine storm that was killing so many people. I literally figured that out in less than 8 weeks, and I am a real estate agent in the Pacific Northwest. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physiologist. I'm not a molecular biologist. I'm not a freaking astronaut. Okay, I'm just some real estate agent who was looking at stuff, and I was like, oh, this is what we need to do and solve it. But as a result of, we'll just say, me being in that space, because I was really, really involved in the culture war in 2019, 2020, my account was flagged. No traction, boom. I talked about the most important crap in the world, and I couldn't get any traction because I was labeled an enemy of the state. You know who are all Republicans? You know a group of people are all conservatives. As a context, you might as well just say like 90%, and I'm going to say 90% plus. Engineers. So engineers are like the most conservative profession out there. And so let's just say we have a situation where there's an asteroid. And again, this will be in my article, but let's just say we have a situation where there's an asteroid coming towards Earth. But we won't let the engineers talk about it because they said something nice about Donald Trump this one time. And the only opinions we'll be hearing are from the trans community because their accounts have been boosted. It's a bit of hyperbole, but that's basically what we're building right now. and it's dangerous as crap. Like I can't think of anything more dangerous. These AIs and this machine learning crap that we're doing is just so unbelievably dangerous. Like OpenAI is another one. And I'm actually encouraging all of you to use OpenAI, and I will continue to do it because you need to understand how this stuff works and whatever, but don't trust it. It's like watch the news, but don't trust it. There's certain things that, like it's awesome at. Like if you want it to write code for you, like if you want to build a website, you can use OpenAI to do it. Okay, you can literally build it. Like when I get the time, in the next whenever, it'll probably be in the next month, I'm going to use it to build a website, and I'll go ahead and just like show you guys. I'll make a video of me building a website using these tools to just kind of figure my way through it. The end. That's it. Oh no, this video is set to private. Whoopsie doopsie. Oopsie doopsie. Didn't mean to do that. And I don't think I can change it while it's live. Let me see if I can edit it while it's live. I'm gonna go public. Done. Save. Okay, maybe you guys can see it. But if you didn't say anything before, I don't care. I don't really have much more to talk about. Nobody's here. Brian's not here. It says he's here, but I don't believe it. Actually, it says Brian's gone. And nobody's over on YouTube. I'm gonna go. That's what I got for you, Emily. That's what I got for you, Emily. Let me see if there's anything else trending that we could talk about. I don't think there is. Watch out for what they send to you, okay? Don't trust any of it. I'll say that much. Let's go here real quickly. Click there. Let's click there, and then we'll go click here. What else? So we still have Tim Pool. The Tim Pool drama. I'll show you what I'm looking at. The Tim Pool drama. Here's an example of the drama. Here's an example of everything that I'm talking about right now. So Tim Pool's in trouble, sort of, because he had this guest named Eliza Blue, and they're friends. And Eliza Blue is also friends with Elon Musk, sort of, like they're all Twitter friends. And she's been a big advocate in the sex trafficking stuff. And she allegedly was sex trafficked, according to her. And I saw her come onto the scene in 2020, 2019. It's a little bit of blur there. But 2020 was when she got really big, when we were all just sitting around on Twitter. And there was just something off about her. Like, I didn't trust her. Like, as a default, never trust a sex worker, okay? I'm not supposed to say that. Never trust anybody who uses sex for money, okay? That's just somebody who's been designed to manipulate people for money. Like, they're built for it. Don't trust them. I've known enough strippers to be able to say that. And so anyways, it turns out that a lot of what she said was just BS. And so there was like a video of her, and here we go. This will actually get into a lot of what we're talking about. There was a video of her circling around, allegedly after she had been sexually trafficked, in like World Star hip hop videos. I don't know if it was World Star, but I'm just gonna say World Star. In these hip hop videos, just shaking her ass and her tits. And she was also like, oh, she was a My Chemical Romance groupie. And she was a big, like, emo groupie. And so she's actually been in the scene. And she's had a YouTube channel for, like, 8 years or longer. Just, shaking her ass and trying to create a career. And so what's she doing shaking her ass after she's been a sex trafficking victim? That doesn't make any sense. Like, I've known people who've been victims of sexual crimes. And the last thing they want to do is show off their titties. Okay, so people are like, hey, Tim, why aren't you doing this? Hey, Tim, why aren't you doing this? And so, like, why are you boosting her or whatever? And, like, why aren't you calling it out, right? Okay. And then what she did is she took her connections at Twitter to get all these accounts suspended. So I'm trying to think of the first, like, there was... I want to say DeFranco is his name, but that's not it. He was like the first one, and then there was like whatever that girl's name is. I can picture her face. I can picture all these people's faces, but I can't get their name. And then Jeremy over at the Quartering. I don't follow any of these people. I literally don't follow any of these people. But his account got suspended, and so somebody's like, why in the hell is this person who's just like a Twitter profile on the right able to get all these people suspended? And it's like, oh, well, she has a direct connection to Elon Musk and Twitter Trust and Safety. And so she's talking to her friends, pulling some strings, getting accounts pulled. Okay, and then she started pulling accounts from YouTube. And so she got mass flagging campaigns going after her enemies, and they're not even her political enemies, just like her enemies who are trying to expose her, and she's using these social networks in order to do it, and search engines. And so as a result of her advocacy, you have all these conservative people who just got taken off. And it's done via algorithms. It's all done behind the scenes. Like there's no control over this stuff. And so you can have advocacy coming from one person, but what if what if this was somebody who was like from the State Department or the FBI or, the NSA? Like, they could get way more done. This is just like some girl. And so some girl got so that's why Tim Pool's trending. And then there was I don't know, all these people from The Quartering went into Tim's show and on Super Chats. I literally spent thousands of dollars trying to get Tim Pool to comment on it. Literally, they spent $10,000 just $10,000 trying to get him to say something, and he wouldn't say anything about it. And so I was like, "Why aren't you saying it?" So he went ahead, banned all these accounts, or blocked all these accounts. But the point is that they're arguing about this when there is this gigantic internet censorship structure that is being built and going to control the world, but they're going to be arguing about titties on the internet. Jesus. Let's see why shooting is trending. I'm just going to go through the trending really quickly. I think it's because that thing got shot down. They shot down the balloon, They shot down the balloon. They shooting down the balloon. They shoot down the balloon. Why didn't they shoot down the balloon sooner? Brian Stelter still exists? Weird. So that's what that is. CCP spy balloon. Mission accomplished. They shot down the balloon. Alaska. Why is Alaska? Was there an earthquake or something? Oh, it came through Alaska. Maybe that's why. The balloon. We're still okay. And then leave. Then leave. Oh, what's then leave mean? Oh, what's going on in Congress? Maybe that's what they're talking about. I don't know. Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about how Congress sucks. Oh, okay. So it's about Marjorie Taylor Greene, who got put on an intelligence committee, I think. And actually, I guess I do want to talk about this real quickly. Ilhan Omar got taken off of her committee for anti-Semitic comments, allegedly, or being part of what is it? The BDS boycott, divest, whatever, sanction the Israel stuff, Israel-Palestine. And she got kicked off of her committee, and I'm gonna defend Ilhan Omar. I don't think she should have lost her seat. I think Swalwell should have, because of his connections to Chinese intelligence. He shouldn't be on any of those committees. I think, Adam Schiff, for just being the biggest freaking liar that has ever existed in Congress. Yeah, he should absolutely lose his seat after lying about classified information that many times. But Ilhan Omar criticizing Israel, I don't think that should count. And one of the things that this shows you, and this is something that I've been slowly getting wind of in my sphere of looking at things, is how influential the Likud party, that's the conservative party in Israel, is. An example would be, I was waving this around for the technological innovations. A lot of the technological innovations besides the United States is Israel. It's one of the most technologically advanced societies on the planet. It's incredible. It's so incredible. Israel has, they invented GPS, for God's sakes. Okay, the Israelis I'm sorry, they didn't invent, they might have invented GPS. They invented cell phones. That's what I meant. I mean, serious technologically minded people. Then you also have the Mossad. You have Epstein, who's probably an Israeli asset, if we're going to be honest. And that just ties back into Ghislaine Maxwell and her dad. And just this kind of group of people that all ran together. And so it's entirely possible that the Likud government were the ones that got their strings pulled. Because the Likud government is deeply, the Likud government, I'm going to just say the Israelis, have done a fantastic job blackmailing the Democrats and funding the Republicans. Yeah, I'm going to say that. The Republican Party in Israel are pretty tight. That's why Donald Trump came along and moved the embassy to Jerusalem. even though it's connected. And Obama was trying to do the exact opposite of that. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna see stuff like, Trudeau must resign, vitamin D. But there's really nothing that exciting. I hope you guys have a great day. Take care. I wish the show was more exciting, but that's what you get when nobody shows up. And I'm trying to do stuff, and that's better when it's an interactive show as opposed to a monologue. When I don't have notes. Like if it's shoot from the hip, it's just way better when there's other people here. But that's it. I'm going to go. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Have a wonderful week. Angels on your pillow. Have fun. Don't take this stuff too seriously. Life's just a ride, and it's going to be over soon. So enjoy it.